The movie begins as Nicky narrates about himself, how handsome he is, and how much charm he possesses. He even mentions that his mother's best friend told him he would be a heartbreaker, and subsequently slept with him, a narcissistic young dumb and broke man who works as an escort with no goals. He takes advantage of his undeniable charm to extract money from wealthy women, boasting about everything he can do that other men can't, leading a playboy lifestyle. Later that night, he goes to a club to hook up with women, and even the guard greets him as they know each other well, and in the club, he encounters many women who recognize him, from women he has slept with before to their sisters too, and by now, he also adds that he doesn't want to hang out with 20s, and he is looking for girls with money. While walking, he comes across a woman named Samantha who wears expensive clothes. He targets her and starts the conversation by telling his name. She replies that as she is Samantha, and while he was trying to continue, she said she's about to out, and he asks her for dinner, but she replies that she had. Also, he offers to drive for her fist. She refused, but later succumbs to Nicky's irresistible charms. They go straight to Samantha's house having fun. While they arrive, Nicky gets and mentions that she has a good house, with a slight compliment, because not to lose the value in her, and surprisingly, he goes upstairs into her bedroom without asking any permission and makes love all night. The following day, Samantha had to go to work. She attempted to wake him up, but he didn't respond. So she left Nicky behind, who was pretending to be asleep. She left a note for him with her card to order breakfast. After Samantha left, he ordered breakfast and spent his time relaxing in Samantha's house. He also ordered some groceries and flowers with the intention of cooking dinner for her when she returned. When she arrived and saw him, she was surprised and asked him how he had been waiting in her house. Nicky tried to divert her questions by offering her a glass of wine. She also asked him about his job, but he avoided answering her questions again. After their dinner, they immediately became intimate again, not wasting any moment. The following morning, their passionate connection continues to ignite as they indulge in intimate moments of love. Once they have stated their desires, they embark on a shopping trip to the mall, where their focus is on acquiring designer clothing for Nicky. Their attraction and affection for each other are so strong that they seize every available opportunity and find any suitable spot to have sex. However, on a particular day, Samantha informs Nicky that she will be spending a few days in New York. She extends an invitation, asking if he would like to accompany her. Regrettably, Nicky declines, fabricating excuses and reasons for his inability to join her. Later in the day, Nicky accompanies Samantha to the airport, bidding her a heartfelt farewell as they part ways temporarily. As the evening unfolds, Nicky takes the initiative to hold a party at Samantha's house, where he reunites with his friend Harry, who recently missed a romantic opportunity with Helen. Coincidentally, Helen herself makes an appearance at the gathering, engaging in flirtatious interactions with Nicky, adding an element of intrigue to the atmosphere. Later, an unfamiliar woman approaches Nicky and initiates a flirtatious encounter. Nicky, enticed by her advances, accompanies her to a room furnished with a bed, where they engage in intimate activities. The following day, Samantha reaches out to Nicky, making a call to check on him and their relationship. Nicky responds to Samantha's call in a nonchalant manner, displaying an arrogant attitude towards her. After concluding the conversation, another woman named Emily pays a visit to Nicky at Samantha's house. Emily is one of Nicky's casual lovers, and later that evening, they share a physical connection. Once their intimate encounter concludes, Nicky escorts Emily back to her own residence. It becomes evident that Nicky takes advantage of Samantha's absence and takes her presence for granted. He relishes in the pleasures of his freedom and indulges in the enjoyment that Samantha's temporary absence provides. However, one fateful night, while Nicky is engrossed in watching television, he receives oral services from yet another woman. Little does he know, Samantha unexpectedly returns earlier than anticipated, catches Nicky red-handed, engaging in an act of infidelity. Samantha confronts Nicky regarding his behavior and actions, expressing her discontent. However, Nicky takes the opportunity to clarify their misunderstandings, and Samantha decides to play along, seemingly willing to overlook the incident. They resolve the matter by engaging in intimate moments, as if the previous events had never occurred. As time passes, their casual relationship continues, with both individuals benefiting from each other's companionship while maintaining a friendship. One day, Nikki dines at a local establishment and encounters Heather, a young and captivating woman. Instantly drawn to her, he is captivated by her presence and musters the courage to request her phone number. Unfortunately, Heather brutally rejects his advances. In an attempt to retaliate, Nikki decides not to pay for his order and instead includes his address on the bill. This action agitates Heather, prompting her to confront him about his behavior. Upon returning home, Samantha seeks to engage in intimate activities with Nikki. However, Nikki makes it evident that he is not in the mood, displaying his disinterest. The following day, Nikki shares the details of his encounter with Heather with his friend Harry. Together, they visit the diner where Heather works. Nikki attempts to impress her by assuming a false identity as a successful businessman, yet Heather disregards his efforts, paying him no attention. In time, Heather notices Nikki's determination, and he succeeds in getting her phone number. He goes back to Samantha's house and they become intimate, yet it's clear that Nikki's thoughts are with another woman. The next day, Nikki gets a call from Heather, who invites him to dinner at a nearby restaurant. Excited, Nikki arrives punctually, but Heather is late. This tardiness annoys Nikki. Despite this, they continue their date because Nikki is quite fond of her. They share stories about their lives, and Nikki tries to win her over. Suddenly, Heather receives a call and abruptly says goodbye to Nikki, leaving in a manner that could be seen as rude. Nikki is taken aback and feels challenged, as this is the first time a woman has left him in suspense. The following day, Samantha questions Nikki about his fidelity, asking if he's been with other women. Nikki denies it, but Samantha doesn't believe him anymore. Later, he visits the local diner again in hopes of finding Heather, but it seems she no longer works there. He goes back home, resigned to the thought that he might never see Heather again. As he's eating, Heather shows up at Samantha's house, mistakenly thinking it's Nikki's. She takes a seductive swim, and Nikki, unable to resist, ends up sleeping with her. The next morning, Nikki offers to move her car while she's still asleep. Upon entering the car, he notices 2 packs of tobacco and realizes they belong to a wealthy man. He immediately confronts Heather and asks her to leave the house. Afterwards, she goes to the hospital to bring Samantha home following a private part enhancement surgery. Rather than caring for her, Nikki spends the entire night partying with other women. When he comes back home, an angry Samantha confronts him and tosses his belongings at him. He also gets slapped in the face twice. In a fit of rage, she throws his mobile phone into the swimming pool, which deeply upsets Nikki. He is then thrown out of the house and left without a place to stay. He approaches several acquaintances for help, but they all turn him down outright. He tries to find his friend Harry, but Harry isn't at home. He then heads to a strip club, a place Harry frequents, in an attempt to speak with him. Inside the club, Harry's friend behaves inappropriately with one of the girls, which leads Nikki to hit him in the face. Harry confronts Nikki outside about his actions, and Nikki tries to justify himself. He tells Harry that it's not right to treat a woman in such a manner. Harry, however, flips the situation by pointing out Nikki's own mistreatment of women, telling him he's not in a position to lecture them. The following day, Harry throws all of Nikki's belongings out of his room and leaves him on his own. In a state of desperation, Nikki reaches out to his mother for help, but she disregards him. Nikki becomes distressed as he finds himself in a dire situation, penniless and without a place to stay. Instead of seeking ways to earn money, he reverts to his old habit of exploiting wealthy older women. Just as he's about to approach one woman, he spots Heather relaxing at the same resort. Feeling ashamed, he decides to swim in the pool instead. Heather follows him and inquires about what's going on. Nikki apologizes to her and admits that they are similar in their ways, both exploiting the wealthy for money. Heather understands his situation and decides to bring him home. While they are conversing, Heather's affluent boyfriend calls her for a meeting. She quickly gets ready and leaves. After she comes back home, they plan to attend a party to find new potential targets. At the party, they enjoy themselves, dancing and having a good time. A wealthy man approaches Heather and engages her in conversation. After the party, Heather offers Nikki a place to sleep on the couch, and she retires to her bed. Nikki seizes the opportunity, undresses, and quietly enters Heather's room, hoping for an intimate encounter. Initially, Heather refuses to engage in such activities with him. However, Nikki's persuasive efforts eventually convince her, and they succumb to their desires, sharing a passionate night together. Shortly after, their irresistible attraction leads them to further moments of intimacy. The following evening, they venture out to an upscale restaurant, enjoying a romantic dinner in each other's company. During their date, an unfamiliar woman approaches Nikki, whose identity he fails to recall. Faced with an expensive bill, the two resort to pretending that there is an issue with the food, using it as an excuse to hastily leave the restaurant. As the days pass, their bond strengthens and they become increasingly involved in each other's lives. They spend the majority of their time together, living as though they were a married couple. Whenever Heather goes on dates with other men, Nikki experiences feelings of jealousy, indicating the depth of his emotional attachment. One morning, he notices Heather gazing into the distance, appearing troubled. Nikki approaches her with concern and asks what is troubling her. She admits that her wealthy boyfriend has asked her to marry him. Nikki becomes upset because she didn't inform him about this. His anger subsides when Heather explains that she accepted the proposal because they need the money. She further clarifies that she doesn't love her boyfriend and confesses her love for Nikki. Despite this, Nikki is still upset because she didn't confide in him, so he steps outside to clear his head. When he comes back to Heather's house, she's gone, and a note reveals that she has decided to go to New York to be with her wealthy boyfriend. Nikki tries to reach out to Heather several times, but she doesn't respond. While he's out shopping, he runs into a woman he's been involved with before. Feeling lonely after several days, he decides to rekindle their relationship. The woman starts feeling sick and throws up outside the car. Heather calls and they share a moment of intimacy as they express their feelings for each other. However, Heather's mood shifts when she hears a woman's voice. She becomes upset and ends the call. This frustrates Nikki and he vents his anger on the woman. The woman, in turn, becomes angry with him and leaves him stranded on the road. When he gets back home, he encounters Eva, Heather's roommate, and inquires about Heather's location. Eva doesn't know where Heather is, so they discuss possible scenarios, and Nikki seeks her advice. During their conversation, Nikki spots a package with a sender's address. He realizes that this is the address of Heather's wealthy boyfriend in New York. The following day, he visits Harry's house and they reconcile. Afterwards, Harry and Eva give him a ride to the airport. With determination, he enters the airport and flies to New York. Upon arrival, he heads directly to where Heather is staying to see her. He knocks on her door and she lets him in. Nikki tries to persuade her to return with him so they can start anew. However, Heather confronts him with the harsh truth that committing to someone involves more than just love. She expresses her fear of depending on him for her future. Summoning his bravery, Nikki proposes to Heather, expressing his desire to spend his life with her, but he is taken aback when Heather reveals that she's already married. Soon after, Heather's husband shows up, leaving Nikki heartbroken and shattered. Nikki returns to his city alone. These experiences bring him back to reality and lead him to a number of realizations. Nikki abandons his previous lifestyle and starts to work. During his job, he encounters Samantha, who is now with a new partner. She says goodbye to him and wishes him well on his path. Nikki, who was once naive and penniless, learns life's harsh truths through difficult experiences. He is humbled by these life lessons and works hard to improve himself. He comes to understand that a man's worth is not determined by his charisma or appearance, but by his dedication to his passions and responsibilities. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.